Hold it!
It crashed head first, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes? Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day? Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes, the birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower. So you were there? What a surprise. I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? How would you have come by that information? Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant. And he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Like always. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science is not yet at a level where such things can be determined. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment, and since he was found in a birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. I suppose that's hard to deny.
Hold it!
So you understood the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? What are you talking about? Very good point. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. The point is the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. Not really? He's certainly very sure of himself. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other. But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Hairbrain's innocence. Both Mr. Asman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? He's a vampire, he doesn't feel anything.
Hold it!
So you are already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself? Not really, by chance. I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, he was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. So why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular then? Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with that excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct a machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Hairbrain certainly has a mind like no other. Huh? Provided you with a blueprint, it was no trick. A body double. I don't know. I can't see any contradictions. A body double? Oh, crash head first. That's wrong. Because it crashed down with the victim inside, causing damage to its base. Its base down here. It's not head first.
Objection!
We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree, the damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Yeah! Oh, did you see the red highlight on his text? A good gracious, explain yourself, witness. Well, why is this text highlighted like that in random places? If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tailfirst into the tower.
Objection!
But multiple witness reports claim it fell headfirst. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
Objection!
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection!
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one of two of his vertebrae crushed. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though it be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebrae actually. Only one vertebrae? Vertebra! Wait, where did you get that information? He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Rodman Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler and one who deceived a personal friend of his. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Sorry, I feel like that's the undertone here. Yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as its sudden truth will very plainly demonstrates. What?
It seems to me that a cross-examination had better continue on who resolved this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically after all. I nearly had him there. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. What are you talking about? It could have fallen from here to here. If it can fall from here to here, it can fall from here to here. Right?
Objection!
This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you will see that there is another possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Of course.
You will indicate a place to which you are referring on this diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet.
Well, either here or do I present here? Do I present this spot or this spot? How it's written, I think they want me to point out a location before the fall, right?
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here.
But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with.
Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we also must consider is the height of the stage itself.
Go on, counsel.
It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two.
Objection!
My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print.
Oh, good lord, the metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone.
Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Did they not investigate that? That's such a oversight, Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Hairbrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters, a machine designed to take Mr. Asman's life and lay the blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Objection!
I love this animation. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions, the prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. What? Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts. 2? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that.
And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment.
In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection!
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? Wait, what about the grant money? First of all, the motive was, like, they wanted to make the machine look real, get the money, and yeah, now that Osman, Odie Asman has died, Enoch Drebber would be the one getting the money, right? Maybe? And of course, Hairbrain. I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Von Zeeks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30%, certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Uh-oh. What? In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. What? Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil.
It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide off the mark. Lord Von Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please.
Why do I get to see this only now? It's true. if Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. The investor hereby enters into contract with the provider to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. But I mean, couldn't Mr. Asman enter a contract with Professor Hairbrain after Asman's death? Like a separate contract? I mean, he wouldn't get the money from Asman, of course, from this contract, but still, he could have made like a contract with Professor Hairbrain. With more favorable conditions. There's one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Mr. Sato, thank you for the motivational speeches.
Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer.
Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. Wait, where's his apprentice? He's gone. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out a crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection!
An accomplice now? Well then I presume you're prepared for what's to come. No. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution would demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
Who do I want to accuse? What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice or not? Name the accomplice? Are you serious, game? Who would be the accomplice? Do we really go with the gut feeling I have about Courtney Scythe? This is crazy! She's an official coroner of Scotland Yard. Accusing her is like really bad. Like really, really bad. Like really, really, really bad. This is crazy! This is crazy! The defense is ready to name Mr. Draper's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel?
Huh? My lord?
You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name.
Holy crap.
So your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Draper's accomplice?
Uh-oh. Holy crap.
Take that!
We have no evidence! The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bite your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure it will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mr. Sato. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Wow. That is... Where did you get that phrase of wisdom there, Mr. Sato? Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Draper in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
What in blazes are you talking about, Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy of the victim. We know there were two bird cages, so who could have carried out a switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could a switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. Oh god, Lord Strongheart is not gonna be pleased if we prove that Courtney Scythe is involved, because she is his right-hand woman. Oh my god, and this forensic investigation team thing is also Lord Strongheart's idea. So politically we're not making a lot of friends here. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. The magician is completely unfazed. She's sleeping. You've got enough, lad. Drink your bread. Drink the yacht name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Oh my word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What?
Certainly, if the bird cage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must have also contained the body.
And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? Uh-oh, what? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? What? What? I don't know. What? I don't know. Wait, he has glasses here, but... Oh yeah, he's got glasses. He's got glasses, right? Oh god, what am I gonna... What? Name a person? I don't have any person who I can name. Who looks like Asma? No one. No one else. I mean, no one died, first of all. No one else died. I was thinking maybe the second birdcage, the one who dropped onto the crystal tower, was empty. I mean, who's gonna notice if there was a body in there or not, right? Or maybe... maybe it was a waxwork figure! Because we found this broken glass near the waxwork figure! Oh my god. That's it! Very well, the defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double.
Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha. The body double inside the second birdcage was... a waxwork figure.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower.
Yes, counsel, according to a somewhat elaborate version of events.
And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact... It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Oh my god, thanks for your affirmations. Just steel yourself and come out with it. Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Why is the waxwork in the court?
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Ooh. What's that supposed to mean? Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. What? Whoa! I haven't seen this in quite a while. One of my slaps didn't work on the table. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice, and now you've moved on to indicting waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why, and why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's.
Did you say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now, the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside a second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That a witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Van Zieks, why are you talking to the jury like this? Are you out of any arguments yourself, could it be? Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak if you please.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Oh my god.
Very good, in that case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty!
Oh my god.
Guilty!
Ugh.
Guilty!
You too?
Guilty!
Guilty!
Kill me!
Even the magician himself? Okay.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appear to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very well, in that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Oh, I didn't even need to order a summation examination and the judges are already doing it for me. Thank you.